vast, sparsely populated country on the southwest coast of Africa, life in Namibia with its hot, dry climate and mostly arid landscape can be tough, yet it's surprisingly abundant in produce. Meat is farmed in the more fertile interior, and the coastline is rich in seafood. I'm in Namibia, famous for the desert, diamonds, and a really diverse cuisine. I've come to the interior, and I'm here to meet a family from the Herero people for whom farming has been a way of life for generations. Here over the centuries, people have adopted different ways of cooking meat which remain popular today, and I've been invited by the Kangwehi Mikulini family to find out exactly what a braai and potjie are firsthand. Hello. Don't you look so resplendent in this amazing costume? Is this traditional in this area?
Yes, this is Herero dress.
Wow.
It originated from our Victorian dress.
Right.
Days. The headgear.
Yeah.
It represents the cow. You know, the
horns, yeah.
of the cow.
The Herero peoples of Namibia are livestock herdsmen and cattle breeders who migrated from the East African lakes over 350 years ago. Today, many of them have settled on farms, and they are expert at raising animals in this harsh environment. Fortune's uncle, Nejai Zaire, is showing me his farm and his goat herd. To survive in the desert, they have to be tough, and these animals store water by consuming a lot when they have access to it. But this is what I've been waiting for, a lesson on the best lamb cuts for braai. What is a popular part of the lamb which you would use for braai?
This is what we call it, the T-bone itself. If you're using the method, what we call it, potjie course,
Yes.
A maximum of 45 minutes for such a very quality tender meat. If you are braaiing it, we need approximately in a maximum of 10 minutes to cook it slowly.
Lamb is at the heart of the two dishes being cooked for me today, so I'm heading off into the kitchen where Fortune and her aunt have already started cooking the potjie. It's like a stew, isn't it?
Potjie is called after the actual pot, which
Right.
is called a potjie. But it's a normal cast iron pot, but the difference is it's got legs and it
Yeah.
spins in a fire,
Right.
which is obviously the much more economical way of cooking.
Fortune Kangwehi Mikulini is passionate about food. She is influenced by the Italian family she married into and her Herero roots.
I've adapted it to suit my Italian husband and my Herero family. I try to mix the two together.
To accompany the potjie, Fortune's aunt will be making traditional bread.
It's my aunt's specialty, this traditional bread.
So the sugar is flour.
And salt.
It's a sweet bread, but we eat it normally with meat. Savory, not like a dessert. It's more something that you eat with savory.
It's sweet. Cooking on an open fire outside is a method which goes back many generations. It is seen as more economical, but also as a way of adding flavor.
Now it's really nice and hot. I just put my oil in. Basically, we just wet those a bit and we add the meat, the seasoning, and the stock.
And here is the most important ingredient of a potjie, the lamb. You keep all the fat and everything.
Oh yeah, you love the fat.
Yeah.
The fat is with all the flavors.
Right.
This I'll cover, just let it cook a bit, and
Right.
I'll add my stock and then just let it cook.
Let it cook.
Yeah. In the meantime, my aunt is getting her bread into the pot.
While the bread is baking and the potjie's on the fire, we head off to braai the rest of the lamb.
Coals are nice and hot.
Braais or barbecues are synonymous with life in Africa. The tradition stems from the days of early explorers and hunters who discovered that fresh meat roasted over an open flame was smoky and delicious. However, braaiing is an art that can take a few attempts to master, so I'm all ears.
Fire. I've marinated this very, very simply. Because I just use rosemary and garlic,
Yeah,
a little bit of lemon zest, pepper.
nice. Very Italian.
Very Italian, once again, contemporary Africa.
And you are a meat-eating nation,
We are.
aren't you?
We are.
The
Herero
most-
people eat traditionally meat and milk. Unless when you go down to Swakopmund to Lulu
Right.
to Valfus, then it's seafood time. Oh, yay. Let's keep it medium rare.
Yeah, gorgeous. Okay. So after a good couple of hours of cooking, the meat feast is ready, and it's time for a real family affair. It looks amazing. Oh, thank you.
Okay, and potatoes here.
Nice, it's sweet. Moist. I love that smoky texture. And the smoky flavor from the potjie.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can really taste that.
completely different from same ingredients in the oven.
Exactly.
So it doesn't have the same flavor.
Really enjoyed experiencing Poiki firsthand. And I've got a recipe in mind. It will recapture the Namibian experience. Back in my African kitchen, I'm cooking my lamb and potato korma. It was so lovely meeting up with Fortune and her family in Namibia, cooking lamb in a Poiki dish over an open fire. And I decided to do a tamer version by cooking my lamb and potato korma on an open fire, which will give it a nice and distinct smoky flavor. First, you need to marinate your meat, so it's finely cut and beautifully trimmed. Here's my leg of lamb. To that, I'm going to add some ginger, some garlic, bit of turmeric powder, and some chili powder. I'm going to now just give that a good massage, so allowing those spices to really infuse into the meat. Leave this to marinate for at least an hour. Now the next thing we do is to toast our spices. Now we've got some coriander seeds, almonds, sesame seeds, poppy seeds, cumin. Good. So we put this onto the fire and allow it to toast, so we're dry frying. So what we're doing here is really toasting those spices, the cumin and the coriander seeds, so that really comes alive. And the poppy seeds and the almonds just give body to the dish, as well as the sesame seeds. I think these spices are nice and ready to be ground. So put those spices into the pestle and mortar and give it a good grind. So this mixture goes into the yogurt. Give it a good stir. Okay, so we can put this to one side. So I'm going to put my tagine pot onto the live hot charcoal, and I'm going to add some oil. Now this is just normal oil, vegetable oil. You can see it's got so hot. To that, I'm going to add my cardamom, clove, and some cinnamon sticks. So they'll start sizzling, and the next thing I'll be onions. Wonderful smell now coming from the pot. The onions with the cinnamon, cardamom, and cloves. We want to caramelize them so we get that lovely sweetness from the onions when they get cooked. Good to now add my meat. Now this is a meat which has been marinating for an hour with the turmeric, chili powder, garlic, and ginger. So the meat is lovely. You can see it's now sealing beautifully, and we've cooked the spices for a few minutes. Now I'm just going to add my yogurt mixture with the almonds, the sesame, the cumin, the coriander. Put that in. Give that a good stir. Now I'm going to next add my water, and we're going to allow that to simmer for about 25 minutes to half an hour before we put the potatoes in. So the meat has had half an hour of cooking. So I'm just going to remove the lid for a moment and give this a good stir. We're going to add the potatoes and a dash of water. Don't put cold water at this stage, otherwise what happens, the meat starts to tighten. So make sure you always have some hot water if you're going to add more water to the dish. And then just give that a good stir. You're going to just now allow the potatoes to cook for another half an hour along with the meat, and it'll be lovely and tender, and they'll both be beautiful. I think this dish is ready. Just look at the meat. I'm just going to drizzle a bit of coconut cream, some sprigs of coriander. There you have it, my Namibia-inspired lamb and potato korma. And this, I must say, I'm going to just enjoy. It really does look yum, delicious. It's so good. There's nothing better than having wonderful meat cooked with just simple plain rice, and somehow managed to capture the essence, but adding Indian flavors to it. And this is so sublime. Well, here's to African food with a bit of India. Coming up, the fruit